we're starting our strategy section, so I'm going to welcome Gib Biddle, who's going to give us the outline. Do you want to take that chair away, and I'll take the other one?
I'm the chair guy. Chair's going away. Am I on? Hey, James, you here? James, can you stand up? Sarah, Ariel, Todd, stand all the way up if I can see you guys. Ariel Jackson, where are you hiding? This is the team. The next 5 talks, we're together talking about product, strategy, and leadership in rapid fire. And I'm going to be ultimately challenged to do a 20-minute talk. My shortest talk ever is 50 minutes. So I'm hopeful I can do it. There's 2 things you should know about me. I was the VP of product management from 2005 to 2010 at Netflix. And the second thing is, in the last 2 years, I'm an executive in residence in product. That means I come in and I do the product leader job for 3 days a week instead of 5. And the net of that is I come into a new product leadership role about every 6 months. And usually in the first day, I have an oh shit moment where the CEO asks me, oh shit, it's on, I need you to present the product strategy to the board, to the company in 24 days. And when I was younger, this is what I looked like. But in the last few years, I've developed into a cagey old vet. I can take anything. There it is. And I just take it in stride. So what I want to share with you today is how I think about developing a product strategy in 24 days. And I've got a couple of models. The first one is Glee. The second, I call it the DMH model. And then I'll show you how I bring both models together, both in the context of NerdWallet below and Netflix. NerdWallet maintains that their logo was first, damn it. Big lawsuit in the making. So the Glee model. It's not working for me. The Glee model, this is one of my very favorite TV series from Netflix. The G is for get big on something. And the L is to lead the next era. And then the third is expand. So think about these as 3 chapters in a startup's life. Generally, these chapters are 2, 3, 4, 5 years, depending on the company. So there's what's that first thing I'm going to get big on in the early days? What's the thing that I'm going to lead? And then if you think 8 or 10 years out, what's the thing I'm going to expand into world dominance as a startup? So I'll show you how I applied that at Netflix. So this is a super happy Reed Hastings in the era of DVDs. They were whirring back and forth across the country, getting to you in about a day. And so the first step here was to get big on DVDs. And think of this in circa 2005. The second step was to lead downloading. And that's what we called it at the time. The word streaming, if you said streaming to a customer, what they heard was streamlining. And that was super bad. Okay, so we called it downloading. And then the third chapter was once we were a streaming company, no longer burdened by creating these hub systems, getting the DVDs magically in the mail, we would expand internationally. Anybody know the 4th chapter of Netflix's life? Original content. Now, we didn't anticipate that in 2005, did we, Todd? No, we did not. We had a failed experiment in exclusives back then. But now, once the company's 20 years, you can think in chapters that go 4 out. So the DMH model. It sounds too close to DMV, which is terrifying to me. So the D is how do you delight customers? That is a happy family, isn't it? That was what we aspired to. That the whole idea was movie enjoyment made easy. The M is a fancy word for making money. So how do we do margin enhancing? And this is me talking to the shareholders. We're going to figure out a way to delight customers, but also deliver shareholder value. And the H part is how do we do those things in hard-to-copy ways so that some punk startup down the street doesn't copy everything that we do the next day. So I'll show you how I thought about this at Netflix. The first is just a gentle reminder that Netflix sucked in 1999, okay? So and this is a product leader trick. Just show them how sucky you used to be. And here you could get a disc for $4 in the mail. It would magically get to you in about 5 days, and there were over 2,000 titles you could choose from. And then this is, Todd and I worked together at Netflix. This is what Netflix looked like in 2007. And you can see there's a lot of experimentation. This was Todd's personalization petri dish. He was figuring out how to find movies that I would love. You'll notice we were hawking discs. We were selling used DVDs to make money. We had an experiment in getting movie ideas from your friends. That didn't work because your friends have sucky movie tastes, okay? But this is what it looked like at the time, and then you can see we evolved. So this is what my desktop experience looks like today. Actually, it's not really me, because I'm not into Gilmore Girls, okay? This is my daughter, Kelsey. She's 20, right? So this is her very wonderfully personalized experience. Todd can tell you all about it. You'll notice that all the titles down here are popular on Netflix, but they're very much geared towards Kelsey. They're personalized, but it's that popular on Netflix tag that makes Kelsey want to watch this stuff. All right, so how many of you are Netflix subscribers today? Okay, and keep your hand up. How many are you paying with your own account? Okay, thank you. Kelsey thanks you. Her med school thanks you. All of those things. Todd's in the room. How could we make Netflix better today? What would delight you? What are some stuff that you love out of that service? He's right over there. What do you guys want?
Better recommendations.
Better recommendations. Damn you, Todd Yellen. What else do you guys want?
More new content.
More original content. Have you heard that before, Todd?
We're working.
Yeah, what else?
Less bandwidth.
Less bandwidth. He's in Utah. I thought you had a lot of bandwidth in your neighborhood. What else do you guys want?
Offline mode.
Oh, they want to watch movies on airplanes. Todd, have you heard that? Okay. So this is the exercise that I usually begin with to think about how might I delight customers. And here are all the things that we thought about. And for giggles, Todd, I included download and playback at the bottom of the list. Yeah. So this is the way you think about what are the things that might delight a customer. And the second is how do you build a business around this? At Netflix, we started at $22 a month for 3 DVDs on the top of your DVD, and then we just noticed normal people didn't need 3 DVDs at a time, so we had the insight to create a $10 plan. Lots of price and plan testing. We were selling used discs. We even did advertising. I don't know if people can remember. These are ways to make the business. But the one I want to point out here is how long-tail content helps to build the business in Netflix. So in the old days, it cost $3 to send a new release to you in the mail. And it only cost $1 to send a title that was at least a year old. You guys all love some older titles. Like, I'm freaky. I watch documentaries on climbing Everest. Okay, how many of you with me? Okay, oh, cool. The point is that we all have unique movie tastes, and the job, this is Todd's job, was to help find stuff that you love that you would rate 5 stars, but to give it an extra little nudge if it was older and less expensive content. He's got interesting issues today in an area of original content where he's already paid for it, which is fascinating. The hard to copy, it took me a lot of time to build that photo, guys, okay? But the idea here, and this is what the rest of the speakers are going to focus on. Ariel's going to talk about building hard to copy brands. James is going to talk about network effects. Todd's going to talk about personalization. And economies of scale as you get bigger. Netflix, how much did it spend to build The Crown?
We don't talk about the budget. We just care about how much you're going to love the show.
Yeah. It was published, people think, $150 million to build that TV series. Punk startups can't do that, and that's an advantage of economy of scale. So here are some of the examples. The device ecosystem, this is fascinating. In the old days, we had 4 million members. The aspiration was to get up to something like 10 million members, because once we were at 10 million, we could write big checks to get the content you like from the movie studios. And once we had lots of original content that you love to watch, or licensed content, then we could talk to all the hardware manufacturers to make the devices Netflix ready. So the big thing, and when we had about 10 million members, we finally talked Xbox into letting all of its members stream instantly to TV. Now imagine what happens when you have 50 million members. Now you're writing checks for 100 million to get original content. And now, today, at about 90 million members, Netflix has managed any device that you buy today is ready to instantly stream to the TV. And this device ecosystem and the aggregation there is a wonderfully hard to copy element, a network effect, if you will. All right, so if you take these three threads of ideas, you have this list of hypotheses. And I did a little rank ordering. It'll become obvious how I did it. But I want to point out personalization for a moment, why I put it at the top of the list. So when done well, personalization helps delight you, finding you awesome content. When done well, personalization, the technology there is wicked hard to copy. And when done well, personalization helps to improve the dynamics of the business by finding you that long-tail content. So this is an example of, I hope this idea works, okay? So now, as a product leader, you have these theories and hypotheses. We could do maybe 4 or 5 major theories in a year, and you're just going through them, experimenting as rapidly as possible. So I'm going to show you over a 10-year period what worked and what didn't. So green is good. So we were able to demonstrate that the green things work. The fascinating thing, I mentioned this earlier, the exclusives in the earlier days didn't work. But then, Todd, I think you'll say originals today are a big dog in helping build the business. We opened up the APIs to let 1,000 flowers bloom, none bloomed. But it was that work that helped us to create this deep device ecosystem. And then you see some other theories and hypotheses that, actually, Todd, you took 2 cracks at cinematic and entertaining.
We got there well after we were done.
You get all the credit, dude. So these are all the theories and hypotheses, and we were able to rapidly work through them over 10 years, really. Okay, so now this is me bringing these 2 models together. I'm stepping into the room at Netflix. It's a company meeting. I usually join startups when they're little. This one was overwhelming to me. There were like 120 people in the room. And what? 5 minutes, good, it's all good. So you've heard this. I first talked about the focus and phasing over the years. Do I get extra time for clicker? I front-loaded it. I made myself look like a genius. This is not true. At any moment in time, we'd have multiple theories. We already know that these 4 work. But the key thing is at any moment in time, there were lots of experiments against these strategies. Does anyone remember the Netflix Prize? Okay, it was a substantial effort in trying to figure out how to do better collaborative filtering. Would you maintain it worked at the time or not?
In the short term, yes. In the long term, I'll tell you how it didn't.
Yeah, and the really cool thing is the engineering community loved it, and for the first time, it was cool to be an engineer and working at Netflix. So here are multiple tactics against these strategies. And the other thing that was super important was we were able to measure progress along the way. So Todd was focused on personalization. At the time, the metric we used to evaluate him was, hey, Todd, at the end of 6 weeks, what percentage of members give at least 50 ratings? The theory was if they gave ratings, it was because they valued the result of it. So anybody want to take a guess, at the end of 6 weeks of a member's life, what percentage of the members had rated at least 50 things? What number? 0. I hear a 0 to the left. Anybody want to do a little youth? Like, Todd is good. What number would it be? 10%. 1%. Does anybody believe in Todd? Yes. Okay. What number?
60%.
60. Okay, a little energetic. Okay. Todd, I remember 25%. Is that in the ballpark?
Yeah, in the overall base, we got to half the people in Netflix eventually rated greater than 50.
So the point is we were able to measure our progress against each of these strategies over time. So now it's oh shit moment. Tim Chen is the CEO of NerdWallet. He's right here. Gib, we need a product strategy in 24 days. We got the board meeting. Okay, the joke is that's like 8 weeks because I only work 3 days a week. Here's NerdWallet, 100 million plus revenue, 70% growth year over year, highly profitable. This is the recruiting pitch right now. Okay? It fundamentally helps improve achieve economic freedom, a good thing. Okay? Way cool company. This is what the homepage looks like. Not that important, I'll show you why. But at the end of the day, it's helping connect you with credit cards, banking accounts, whether you should be with Wealthfront or which mortgage company. So here's the board meeting. So here's how I play. I walk up to the board and say, okay, I'm going to help articulate how we're going to delight customers in hard-to-copy, margin-enhancing ways. I've got finance people in the room. And then I talk about the focus and phasing. Step 1, get big on SEO. So this is an SEO play. So get almost 10 million a month folks are coming to the company because of these cool articles, financial calculators. Step 2, we're going to lead monetization in important financial areas. And step 3, today NerdWallet is just beginning to create accounts and to personalize. But step 3 is we're going to expand via these financial decision multipliers. We're going to know all of your economic history, and we're going to help connect you with the very best financial products in order to help you achieve economic freedom. So this is that first Glee model. And then the second strategy, SEO is super important, creating two-sided marketplaces, way important, connect me with all the credit card companies or all the mortgage providers, et cetera. Personalized decision-making is super important here. And then we've got some theories with mobile apps about how to connect millennials with these financial services. And same thing, lots of tactics that we're exploring against these strategies. And then once again, we are able to measure our progress. And because it's a private company, I haven't been as transparent as I was with Netflix. But each of these, we are able to measure our progress against each of these strategies. And then I tend to end with a vision of the future. Thank you, Ray, who's the designer. So this shows how NerdWallet is beginning to be personalized. NerdWallet knows that I could afford to buy a $635,000 home, $2,700 a month, and it's going to give me similar financial advice in 6 major categories today. So this is a vision of the future and where we're going to be. So in your next 24 days, I want you to go back and think, do I have a cogent product strategy that I can present to the whole company? Try the Glee model, the focus and phasing over multiple years. Apply that delight customers in margin-enhancing, hard-to-copy ways. And then bring it all together with a set of cogent strategies, tactics, and metrics that let you measure your progress along the way. So with that, I'm going to hand you over to the next lightning talk speaker, who's Ariel, who's going to talk about a hard-to-copy element, which is building your brand. And then we're going to get to our dear friend. The other thing about the leadership, most of my teams know it. They call me Mr. Lather, rinse, repeat. My ability to repeat the product strategy, these metrics, and the tactics ad nauseum, it feels like to me. But here's the rest of the team. So with that, I'm going to hand you off to Ariel, who's going to be talking about how to build a hard-to-copy brand. I thank you very much.